I think that there are certain leaders who think that they need to trample all over people to get to the top. And I believe that's the absolute opposite of what a good leader needs to be.
Until about a year ago, it was thought impossible for a long-haul plane going from as far as, say, London to New York to fly on sustainable aviation fuel.
I suppose I was full of self-doubt, mainly I think because I was dyslexic.
Billionaire's Tears, the $5 million birthday party that shocked the tennis world. Hold on to your seats, tennis fans, because what I'm about to tell you sounds less like a sports update and more like the plot of a Hollywood blockbuster. We are talking about private jets, London penthouses, tearful billionaires, and a check written for a staggering $5 million. Yes, you heard that right. $5 million. Breaking news has just exploded out of London, sending shockwaves through the tennis world and the high society gossip columns alike. The center of this storm? None other than the Filipino tennis sensation, the golden girl of the Southeast Asian Games, Alexandra Eala. But she wasn't hitting winners on Wimbledon's center court this weekend. Instead, she was the guest of honor at one of the most exclusive, secretive, and lavish parties of the decade. Sir Richard Branson, the Virgin Group mogul, the man who owns islands and shoots rockets into space, has reportedly dropped a fortune just to have Alex Eala by his side as he celebrated his 76th birthday. Why did a British billionaire pay a king's ransom for a 20-year-old tennis star's company? What exactly happened inside the walls of the Ritz London? And what was in the speech that reportedly brought one of the world's richest men to tears? Welcome to Court Vision Plus. If you love the drama, the luxury, and the untold stories of the tennis world, make sure you smash that subscribe button right now. You do not want to miss this story. Let's get into it. To understand why this happened, we first have to look at the man himself. Sir Richard Branson. He's not just a business tycoon, he is arguably the world's biggest tennis fanatic with a bank account to match. This is the man who hosts the Necker Cup, the most exclusive pro-am tennis tournament on the planet, on his own private island. He's hit balls with Rafa Nadal, he's partied with Novak Djokovic, and he's watched every Grand Slam from the best seats in the house. But sources close to the Virgin magnate say that in the last year, Branson's attention has shifted. He hasn't just been watching the established stars. He has been obsessively following the rise of a new phenomenon, Alex Eala. Insiders report that Branson was glued to his screen during the 33rd Southeast Asian Games in Thailand just last month. When Eala ended the Philippines' 26-year gold medal drought, dismantling her opponents with that ferocious lefty forehand, Branson was reportedly telling anyone who would listen that this was the future of tennis. He was captivated not just by her skill, but by her grit, her poise, and the way she carried the hopes of an entire nation on her shoulders. We already knew he was a fan. Rumors swirled last month that he had sent personal gifts to her agency following her SEA Games triumph, but nobody realized just how deep his admiration went. Until now. With his 76th birthday approaching, Branson didn't want a generic celebrity appearance. He didn't want a pop star or a Hollywood actor. He wanted the girl who had just rewritten history in Southeast Asia. And when Richard Branson wants something, he doesn't just ask for it. He makes an offer you simply cannot refuse. Let's talk about the package. And folks, calling it a package is putting it lightly. This was a royal decree wrapped in gold. According to leaks from event organizers, the invitation sent to Eala's team wasn't just a letter. It was a logistical masterpiece valued at an estimated $5 million. First, the transport. Branson reportedly chartered one of the world's most luxurious private jets, a Gulfstream G650ER, specifically to fly Eala from her training base to London. We're not talking about first-class commercial, we're talking about a flying palace with a full bedroom, a private chef, and zero waiting in customs lines. But the luxury didn't stop at the tarmac. Upon landing in London, Eala wasn't booked into a standard 5-star room. Sources say Branson secured the signature penthouse suite at the Ritz London for a full 7 days. If you know anything about London hotels, you know the Ritz is the gold standard. A single night there can cost more than most people's cars. But the penthouse? That is reserved for royalty and heads of state. We're talking butler service, panoramic views of Green Park, and gold leaf ceilings that make you feel like you've stepped into a different century. And then, the fee. While neither camp has officially confirmed the wire transfer, multiple high-level sources indicate that the appearance fee and the value of the gifts totaled that mind-boggling $5 million figure. All of this for what? A 2-hour appearance. That's right. 2 hours to mingle, cut a cake, and take some photos. That's roughly $41,000 a minute. It sounds insane to us mere mortals, but for Branson, who is worth billions, this was simply the price of making a dream come true. He wanted the energy of a champion in the room, and he was willing to pay whatever it took to make it happen. So what actually happened at the party? The event was held in the music room of the Ritz, transformed into a wonderland of virgin red and tennis white. Security was tighter than Wimbledon on finals day. The guest list was a carefully curated collection of the British elite, including aristocrats, business tycoons, and rumored members of the royal family. This wasn't just a birthday party, it was a gathering of power, wealth, and influence that most people could only dream of attending. Witnesses say the atmosphere shifted the moment Alexandra Eala walked in. Wearing a stunning, elegant evening gown that was a sharp departure from her usual tennis kit, she looked every bit the global superstar. Branson, famously energetic even at 76, reportedly broke protocol and rushed over to greet her personally at the entrance, beaming like a grandfather welcoming home a favorite prodigy. The joy on his face was unmistakable. This wasn't just another celebrity appearance to him. This was personal. For the first hour, Eala was the belle of the ball. She was seen chatting with tech moguls and fashion icons, handling the high-pressure social environment with the same cool composure she shows on Breakpoint. People who spoke with her reported being impressed not just by her tennis achievements, but by her intelligence, her grace, and her ability to connect with people from completely different worlds. She moved through the room with an ease that belied her young age, making everyone feel like they were the most important person in the conversation. But the highlight of the night, the moment everyone is talking about, came during the cake ceremony. A massive, multi-tiered cake was wheeled out, designed to look like a tennis court, complete with edible rackets and a net made of spun sugar. The craftsmanship was extraordinary, a work of art that probably cost more than some people's wedding cakes. As the crowd sang happy birthday, Branson insisted that Alex join him at the head of the table. It was a moment of pure theater, carefully orchestrated but genuinely emotional. Photos leaked on social media show the two of them holding the knife together, the grizzled billionaire and the young tennis prodigy, cutting the first slice while cameras flashed from every angle. It was a symbolic passing of the torch, a titan of industry standing with a titan of the future. Branson looked absolutely delighted, laughing and pointing Eala out to the crowd, seemingly bragging about her SEA Games gold medal to anyone within earshot. For a man who has accomplished everything imaginable in business, who has literally been to space, he looked like a kid on Christmas morning. But the glitz and the glamour aren't the real story here. The real story is what happened next. After the cake was cut, the music died down, and the room went silent. It was time for the speeches. Usually, at these events, you get a few jokes, a toast, and everyone goes back to drinking champagne. Not this time. Alexandra Eala took the microphone, and what followed was a moment that nobody in that room will ever forget. According to those present, she didn't read from a script. She spoke from the heart, her voice clear and strong in the hushed room. She started by thanking Branson for his incredible generosity, acknowledging the extraordinary effort that had gone into bringing her to London. But then she pivoted, and the speech became something much deeper, much more meaningful. She spoke about the struggle of the athlete, the lonely nights in hotel rooms far from home, the pressure of representing a country that is hungry for glory, and the doubts that creep in when you're thousands of miles from family and friends. She reportedly looked Branson in the eye and said something along these lines: "Sir Richard, you have conquered the skies and the oceans, but you've always stayed a dreamer. In the Philippines, we are a nation of dreamers. When I step on that court, I am not just hitting a ball, I am carrying the dreams of every young Filipino girl who wants to be something more. Your belief in me, your support, it tells me that our dreams are valid, no matter how big they are." She spoke about representation, about what it means to be the first, to break through barriers that have stood for generations. She talked about the weight of expectation and the joy of delivering for people who believe in you. The room was pin-drop silent. You could have heard a champagne bubble pop. And then, it happened. Sir Richard Branson, the man with the iron nerves who has crash-landed balloons and stared down bankruptcy, the adventurer who has faced death multiple times in pursuit of his dreams, began to tear up. Witnesses say he was visibly moved, wiping his eyes as Eala finished her tribute. His emotional response was raw and genuine, completely unguarded. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the private jet or the lavish party. In that moment, it was about a shared understanding of passion and the relentless pursuit of greatness. It was about recognizing in another person that same fire that has driven you your entire life. When she finished, the room erupted. Not polite applause, but a standing ovation from some of the most powerful people in Britain. These were individuals who had seen everything, heard every speech, attended every gala, and yet they were on their feet, genuinely moved by the words of this young athlete. Branson reportedly hugged her, whispering his thanks, clearly overwhelmed by the sincerity of the young star. Sources close to him say he later told friends it was one of the most memorable moments of his life, that Eala had reminded him why he fell in love with tennis in the first place, why he supports young talent, and why believing in the next generation matters so much. This night at the Ritz does more than just fill Alex Eala's bank account. It catapults her into a different stratosphere of fame and influence. We are witnessing the transformation of Alex Eala from a talented tennis player into a global brand, a cultural icon. When billionaires are flying you across the world just to hear you speak, just to have you grace their celebration, you have arrived. This level of networking, this access to the ultra-elite, opens doors that go far beyond the tennis court. We're talking potential sponsorships with luxury brands, charity foundations that could change lives in the Philippines, and global influence that extends into business, fashion, and entertainment. The connections made at events like this can be worth more than any prize money. The people Eala met that night control billions of dollars in capital, influence governments, and shape global culture. A casual conversation over champagne could lead to endorsement deals that dwarf her tournament earnings. A friendship forged in that room could open up opportunities in industries she hasn't even considered yet. This is how legends are built, not just through victories on the court, but through the ability to move seamlessly between worlds, to be as comfortable in an evening gown at the Ritz as in shorts and sneakers at the Australian Open, where she pushed some of the world's best to their limits. She has the SEA Games gold medal around her neck, a prize she fought tooth and nail to win. And now, she has the backing and the confidence of one of the world's most successful entrepreneurs. Imagine walking into the Australian Open knowing that Richard Branson is in your corner, that you've charmed the elite of London, and that you have the poise to command a room of billionaires. That is a dangerous level of confidence for her opponents to deal with. The psychological advantage this gives her cannot be overstated. When you've stood in front of British aristocracy and brought them to their feet, when you've made a self-made billionaire cry with your words, stepping onto a tennis court against another 20-something athlete suddenly doesn't seem quite so intimidating. The pressure of a big match, the nerves before a crucial point, these things pale in comparison to the pressure of performing in front of the global elite with millions of dollars on the line and cameras capturing your every move. Some critics might say the money is excessive. They might call it a stunt, a publicity grab, or an example of billionaire excess in a world where so many struggle to make ends meet. And sure, there's an element of spectacle to it, a theater that feels almost obscene when you think about what $5 million could do for a struggling community. But look at the bigger picture here. This is a Filipino athlete being celebrated on the world stage, treated with the reverence usually reserved for Roger Federer or Serena Williams. It is a massive win for Philippine sports, which has historically struggled for international recognition outside of boxing and basketball. For a country that has produced so few tennis stars, having one of their own flown to London on a private jet to celebrate with British royalty and business titans is enormous. It sends a message to every young athlete in Manila, in Cebu, in Davao, that they too can reach these heights. It tells them that their dreams are not limited by their geography or their resources. Alex Eala is proving that with enough talent, dedication, and yes, a little bit of luck, you can go from the courts of the Philippines to the palaces of Europe. And for Branson, this wasn't just about tennis fandom. Sources close to the billionaire suggest he sees something of himself in Eala. Both are individuals who refused to accept limitations, who pushed boundaries in their respective fields, and who understand that true success comes from taking risks that others consider crazy. Branson built an empire by betting on himself when conventional wisdom said he would fail. Eala is building a career by competing against players from countries with far more resources, better training facilities, and deeper talent. With several of the sport's biggest stars either retired or nearing the end of their careers, there's a hunger for new personalities, new stories, new champions who can capture the public imagination. Eala fits that bill perfectly. She's young, talented, charismatic, and carries with her a compelling narrative of national pride and personal determination. The tennis world is always looking for the next big thing, and Branson clearly believes he's found it. What's particularly interesting is how this event positions Eala not just as an athlete, but as a lifestyle brand. The images from the party show her moving effortlessly between worlds, equally comfortable in athletic competition and high society. This versatility is crucial in the modern sports landscape, where athletes are expected to be more than just performers. They need to be influencers, ambassadors, and entrepreneurs. They need to build brands that extend beyond their playing careers. Eala is getting a masterclass in how to do exactly that, and she's getting it from one of the best brand builders in history. The question now is how she handles this newfound attention. The spotlight that comes with a $5 million birthday appearance is intense and unforgiving. Every match she plays from now on will be analyzed through a different lens. People will expect more from her because she's been elevated to this new status. The pressure to perform, to justify the hype, to live up to the expectations of powerful backers like Branson, can be crushing for young athletes. We've seen promising talents crumble under similar circumstances, unable to handle the weight of expectation and the glare of constant scrutiny. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I want to hear from you. Do you think this kind of celebrity attention is good for tennis? Does it help grow the sport or turn it into too much of a circus? Is Alex Eala ready for this level of fame, or is it too much too soon? Share your opinions, debate with other fans, and let's keep this conversation going. And listen, if you want to stay ahead of the game with the juiciest stories, the biggest match updates, and the lifestyle of the tennis elite, you absolutely need to subscribe to Court Vision Plus. We are your #1 source for everything happening on and off the court. We bring you the stories that others miss, the angles that others don't see, the drama that makes tennis more than just a sport. Hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications so you never miss an upload, and join our growing community of tennis fanatics who can't get enough of this beautiful game. Together. We're just getting started, and if you think this story was wild, just wait until you see what we have coming next. The tennis world never stops giving us incredible moments, and we'll be here to break them all down for you. I'm signing off for now, but I'll be back soon with more stories, more drama, and more of the tennis content you crave. Keep your eyes on the ball, keep your vision clear, and remember, the best stories in tennis happen both on and off the court. See you in the next video, and go Court Vision Plus.
Wow, ang taas ko na. Ganon. Makikita mo sa imagine mo, success ka eh. Bigla kang sumakses eh. Dito, step by step.